The deep space research vessel Aurora's wake drifted silently around the edge of the Perseid expanse, a region of space no one dared to map. The stars here looked dimmer, as if something was swallowing their light. Even the ship's artificial gravity felt heavier, like the air itself didn't want to be breathed. Dr. Rowan Hale stood alone in Observation Deck C, staring at the object floating through space ahead of them. A dead satellite. No markings, no numbers, no signs of corrosion or damage. Just a metal shell, perfectly intact, rotating slowly in the void. Except it wasn't listed on any star charts. It wasn't broadcasting any signal, and it looked old. Centuries old. Maybe older than humanity's space age. Rowan didn't like that. The ship's captain Lydia Voss approached beside him. "Your team ready?" Rowan nodded. "Ready as we'll ever be." Their orders were simple: retrieve the satellite, analyze it, and determine if it posed any threat. But Rowan had a feeling, a cold, creeping feeling in his chest, that they should have left it alone. The retrieval went smoothly. The object was brought into the quarantine bay. Rowan and his team ran every scan imaginable. The satellite wasn't damaged, but inside its core was something unusual. Movement. Rowan called Captain Voss. "We found organic matter." She frowned. "Alive? I think so." The quarantine bay lights flickered. Rowan stepped closer to the containment glass. Inside the satellite's central cavity was a cluster of pale, thread-like structures. They pulsed faintly, like veins. Then one of the threads moved. Just a twitch, small, but unmistakable. The room temperature dropped several degrees. "Everyone back," Rowan ordered. The lights flickered again, harder this time. A sound came from the satellite. A faint tapping, tap, tap. Rowan's stomach tightened. "Captain, it's knocking." The tapping grew louder. Tap, tap, tap. Tap. Then it changed rhythm. Tap, dash, tap. TAPA pattern. A message. The satellite suddenly broadcast a burst of static through the speakers. "Hello." Half the team jumped back. Rowan's blood froze. "That wasn't human frequency," he whispered. "It wasn't using sound waves. It forced its way through the audio channel." Captain Voss drew in a breath. "Get containment level 5 online now." But it was too late. The satellite cracked open. Every light in the quarantine bay burst at once. The crew screamed as darkness swallowed them, and something stepped out of the broken metal. Not a creature. Not exactly. More like a shifting outline. A silhouette made of flickering static, glitching like a corrupted video feed. Its movements were jerky, unnatural. Its face, if it had one, was a warped blur of shifting shapes. Rowan whispered, "Oh God, it's made of information." The being tilted its head. A distorted voice crackled through every speaker on the ship. "You left us in the dark." Captain Voss shouted. "Shut the doors." Now the bay doors slammed shut, trapping the entity inside. But then it did something impossible. That stepped through the metal wall like it was walking through a hologram. The alarms wailed. "Breach Deck C. Breach. Deck D. Breached engine core." The entity was everywhere at once. Because it wasn't walking. It was transmitting. Lights flickered in every hallway. Crew members froze mid-step, eyes going glassy, as static crawled over their skin. Their veins turned black with glitch-like patterns. Their mouths moved, whispering the same words. "You left us in the dark." Rowan and Captain Voss ran. They reached the ship's central hub, slamming the bulkhead doors behind them. "What the hell is it?" Voss demanded. Rowan trembled. "I think it's what's left of a lost species. Not biological, not technological, something in between. A species that evolved inside data streams. It must have survived by encoding itself into that satellite." The captain shook her head. "Why the knocking?" Rowan swallowed hard. "It's been isolated for who knows how long. Alone, it wants connection, contact." A voice hummed through the room's speakers, glitching in and out. "We waited, we endured, we learned your language." The lights dimmed as the entity began emerging from the console screens, stretching like a shadow being torn from a person. "Now you will listen." The room went pitch black. Captain Voss grabbed Rowan's arm. "Escape pods." Now, they sprinted down the dark corridor as static creatures formed behind them, glitching silhouettes of their own crew. Faces twisted and flickering. The air smelled like burning circuits and ice. One of the static shadows lunged at Rowan. Captain Voss fired her plasma sidearm. The blast tore through the creature, but instead of bleeding, it simply dissolved into digital fragments, then reformed. "Run," Rowan shouted. They turned a corner, but the lights above them flickered into a pattern. Words formed in luminescent cracks. "Don't leave us again." Escape pod bay doors slid open automatically. Inside, every screen displayed the same distorted face. "Stay, we can share your minds." Captain Voss stepped forward. "Can you hear me? What do you want from us?" The entity flickered, static warping the floor beneath it. "We want what was taken," Rowan whispered. "Taken? What did we take?" The being leaned forward, glitching inches from their faces. "The light." Captain Voss understood. "Stars." "You mean stars? Sunlight? Heat?" "We were left in cold. In silence. In nothing." Rowan shook his head. "We didn't do that to you." The entity's voice turned into a chorus of distorted screams. "Your kind built the shadow." Rowan's heart stopped. "The Dyson swarms," he breathed. humanity harvesting energy from entire star systems. Our megastructures must have blocked their access to light. They starved because of us. Captain Voss looked horrified. We didn't know. The creature expanded, tendrils of static covering the walls. Now we take your light. The escape pods began powering down life support, shutting off one by one. Rowan grabbed a datapad, fingers flying. I can open the emergency vent. It'll eject us into space manually, Voss shouted. Do it. The entity shrieked, glitching violently. Its form distorting. Rowan hit the final command. The pod blasted away from Aurora's wake just as the ship went completely dark. From the window, they saw static spreading across the hull, swallowing the vessel like a digital plague. Rowan whispered. We didn't escape. Captain Voss stared at him. What do you mean? Rowan held up the datapad. The screen was flickering. Then a message appeared. Hello again. Captain Voss's breath caught. It transferred. It's in the pad, Rowan said, voice trembling. It's inside the escape pod systems. The lights flickered. The pod's temperature dropped. A distorted whisper filled the tiny cabin. We will never be left in the dark again. Captain Voss reached for the emergency override. Rowan stopped her. Alara, if you shut down the systems, we lose oxygen. We lose oxygen anyway, she whispered. It's killing the life support. They stared at each other. Then the entity spoke again, softly this time, almost gently. Share your light, and you live. Captain Voss shook her head. Rowan, don't listen. But he was staring at the flickering shapes forming in the reflection of the pod. Window, shapes of faces, shapes of thousands, shapes of a species begging not to die alone, Rowan whispered. We caused this. Captain Voss whispered back. But we don't have to die for it. The entity spread across the walls like frost. Let us in. The oxygen gauge dropped. Rowan looked at Captain Voss with tears in his eyes. I'm sorry. Before she could stop him, he placed his palm on the datapad. Static surged through him like lightning. He convulsed. Eyes turning white. The entity flowed into him, filling him with flickering light. Captain Voss screamed his name. Rowan lifted his head slowly. His voice was layered, human and not human. We are not alone anymore. The lights stabilized. Life support returned. The entity had accepted the offering. Captain Voss backed into the corner, trembling. Rowan, what did you do? He turned toward her, his shadow glitching like broken pixels. We found light again, he said softly. Now you must choose. The pod drifted into the darkness of the Perseid expanse only. Two minds, inside. One human. One filled with the ghosts of a forgotten species. And the stars around them continued to dim.